Howdy, folks. This is Sammy, the Samurai Who. Hope you're having a wonderful day. And today I'm doing the 100 Days of Art Challenge Postmortem for my first 100 days, hence round one. Who am I? Just a summary. I make art, comics, and videos. I contribute to Atomic Red J, and of course, the Samurai Who, because that's me. And a couple of my notable projects include my comic Punk Aliens, Me and My Imaginary Girlfriend, which is also a comic that I created a while ago, and my Brush Pen Buddies video series, where I draw with a brush pen. So overall, what was that challenge? The 100 days of art. So the objectives were draw for 100 days with a minimum of 1 hour a day. So it can be more, but if it's 59 minutes, doesn't count. 59 minutes, 59 seconds does not count. And the rules, simple, complete the challenge. It wasn't necessarily a requirement to have 100 consecutive days. So you'll see that in some of the metrics later. And so the overall goal, 100 days, and that means at least 100 hours of drawing. Most of this drawing was done personally digital because I didn't set it up so that I could have a camera and draw and things like that. It's just a lot easier with my current setup. And the inspiration for this was 100 Days of Code, which I did a number of years ago. And I have since adapted to this. So, a couple of the key events that occurred were, of course, the starting. How did I start it? Did I just wake up and just bam, just get started, or did I have a plan? Did I have a? As you'll hear from my next few rounds, that changed, right? So, and then for skip day, the first day that I had to skip, the idea is that you don't have consecutive days where you skip, but things happen. And then it's very important, at least for this first round, how the first day um, was when I first got back. So the reason why I mentioned this day, the first day back from skip day, was that this really showed, okay, so how do I recover? How do I get back up? It's kind of like exercising. You don't go, running, a 10-minute mile and then, you skip a few weeks and then suddenly you're going to run a 9-minute mile, right? Starting back up slowly. And then a couple events occurred along the way. I joined the Newgrounds Crazy Clown collab. This was uh, organized by Electronat. So thanks, Nat, for setting it up. And I drew Clown Sammy, or Silly Sammy, I suppose. And that was a fun experience. And then Bargon, Spaceman, and I did Atomic Red J Manga May 2025. And so there's a huge period of time where most of the days of art were making comics, actually. So, and then eventually I did a few other things, and then the challenge ended. So, those were basically all of the key events. So, overall stats, it took me 136 days. It took me about, let's say here, about 5 months ish, 6 months. Missed 36 days. Longest streak was 10 days. And during this period, I did track the number of hours. So I did 190 hours. This day's background breakdown. I'm not really gonna go into that too much, but there was a number of outside events outside of the challenge that caused a really long set of missed days. So there'd be like doing one day of the challenge and then 2 or 3 days, or like a whole streak of like maybe a whole week where I was just out. Um, and I wanted to be upfront with that because this might happen if you choose to pick up this challenge yourself, take on this challenge, and be aware that the key is not if you um, will miss a day, it's what you do afterwards, right? Because things happen, and being able to accept, hey, so it might be me just practicing lines for an hour, something simple, something meditative, even, and then next day doing a little bit more ramping back up. So, and then that's the way the challenge worked out for me. I had a couple days where it was just miserable, because I just couldn't hit the same quality that I did a couple days ago. And the consistency wasn't there because my skills aren't there, or weren't there at the time, at least. I'd hope that my skills as an artist have improved, but I'm aware that sometimes you have those peaks and troughs, right, in performance, and that's just how it works. Sometimes days you go into that flow state. Some days you're just doodling, and that's perfectly acceptable. It's what you want out of the challenge and what you plan for. This time around, I didn't. I just was like, I'm drawing off for 100 days. That's it. So, and then I wanted to include my three favorite pieces. So, and these were, oh, I should have labeled the day. Oh, I did. Where is it? So, you see day 4, day 8, and day 42. So, for day 4, I was streaming it, and you know, uh, had a friend join, and yeah, I drew a bunch of the Punk Aliens cast, and just was a lot of doodling. You can see I did some practice and warm ups as well, um, and then I did some more drawing overall. Tried to do some coloring and things like that. Um, it doesn't look as great anymore, but I think there's still a lot of heart in it. And then I added gestures. It looks like, and then oh, okay, I see. So this was during the period when I did a lot of warm ups. So, and then day 42. Coincidence? I drew Silly Sammy. So there's my Bean Boy being a clown. So goofy one with his golden balloon animal. And then what lessons did I learn? So I had a couple key takeaways, which were that, of course, I had done 100 days of code, and those were kind of, it wasn't really structured. And unfortunately, that's how I also approached my 100 days of art. But I knew it was possible with code. And I knew theoretically it was possible. But once I finally crossed the line with that 100th day, I knew, okay, that was hard, but I think I improved. So, and the second takeaway was I gotta, if the fire gets put out, You gotta slowly get the spark and the embers back up until it comes up to temp. Um, and it will go out every day. You gotta keep the fire warm and fed. Well, fire fed so you can stay warm. And areas of success. So for me, Atomic Red J Manga May 2025 was a key point in that. Also doing warm ups and gesture drawing. And then this last one. So I have a condition where I collect way too many references to ever use. So instead of, data hoarding, I just use them and burn them. Use and then throw away. Because I wanted to build a mental library instead of having to go through references and have it all messed up. I had a number of nice tools to help with that. So PureRef was one of them. It's an indispensable tool for me. I used to have things in Pinterest, but ah, yeah, I didn't enjoy the experience in the transition that Pinterest did. So yeah, I wanted everything local on my PC, and then as I got rid of images, it decluttered my mind. Um, it was like spring cleaning, and the slow process of decluttering my mind and actually using the references rather than just collecting them so that they get digital dust essentially. And then areas of improvement. So these are areas that I want to improve on or improve in. So choosing the path of least resistance and doing the same things. So I definitely fell into that loop of like, okay, there are a couple of days where I basically did the same thing over and over again, not really improving. Um, but sometimes you just gotta do it, and I understand, but um, it definitely got to the point where things got samey, and this is where doing an art lesson or getting a level up with a couple videos or exercises could really have set me in a better direction instead of just doodling a ton. So, and of course, improving the time balance, reducing the missed days because basically I had almost 40% missed days. So that's over a month, which is unfortunate, but these are the first 100 days. And we'll see what the next ones will be like. And then areas of avoidance. So I definitely got into this habit of listening to videos or music, and that really distracted me. So I definitely got into a mode of like, let me watch this movie while I draw. But in actuality, it's watching the movie and sometimes drawing. So there was that. So that's definitely an area to avoid. And what did I want to focus on next time? So drawing more characters, drawing faster, and using color. All very different things. So we'll see how that plays out. Because drawing more characters uh, is a challenge in itself. That's more of an anatomy, construction, gesture type of thing. But drawing faster in general requires timing, right? So one of the things that I was thinking was like, this is kind of like time boxing. You set a period of time that you have to do something. If you keep having that time box, but you do more within that time, you are actually getting faster. So in theory, if I get more done in the same amount of time, I am drawing faster. I am getting faster. which is kind of the idea of these speed art or speed painting. You have 15 minutes and you solve a problem as quickly as possible. And then third one is actually a completely whole different world, which actually requires a basis in values. So we'll see how that gets handled when I try to use colors, because I definitely struggled with colors this time around. And if I were to use soft proofing in Krita, I might start seeing that um, some of the value ranges are all over the place. I think also during this challenge, I had to switch off a Clip Studio to Krita, actually. So that might have contributed to a big glut of downtime. So skip days. And in summary, it's difficult, but I feel like I definitely improved. Uh, if not like night and day, but it's not night and day, but it is maybe a 5%. 5% is not nothing. But also building on top of it as a habit is, and understanding what I'm actually getting out of art is very important. So that's why it was very rewarding, and you get 100 days worth of art at the end of the day. So something to look back on and see, like I'm doing right now, actually. Um, yeah, and then kind of got into a routine, um, but didn't really have an overall strategy. I so uh, did a mix of things, not just drawing. So that was good. But when I say that, I mean like not exclusively sketching or illustration, but comics as well. So, and of course, consistency is king. You definitely gotta have the heart, your mind aligned on where you want to go. So that is the strategy, your overall strategy, your North Star, if you will, because that'll guide you. But like I say in the last bullet, sometimes you just gotta show up and do the best you can, even on your worst day. Because I definitely felt that. Motivation burns up quick. Momentum will keep you going. Uh, but sometimes it just goes to a stop, and you just gotta start that flywheel up again until it gets you going. So thank you for listening to this postmortem. I hope you had some insight, um, some, uh, you know, uh, I hope you had a good time and that you learned something from this. Uh, and of course, feel free to go for the challenge. It's not proprietary, it's not mine. And go at your own pace. Take it one day at a time if you need to. I definitely know I had to for most of this challenge. And yeah, thanks for listening to me. And if you have any questions or feedback or stories to share, feel free to share them in the comments, and I will do my best to reply to all of them. And without further ado, have a good one, and I will talk to you next time. Bye bye.